Welcome to Weather or Not. Christy Shields joins us with your detailed weekend forecast and the weather for the week ahead. Tyler Jankoski brings us an in-depth look into some of the experiences Penn State meteorology students gained by attending the National Weather Association annual meeting last month. India joined the interplanetary space race, and Pennsylvania's Winter Weather Awareness Week begins this Sunday. All this and Nature in the News and more, Weather or Not begins now. Thanks for tuning in today. I'm your host, Travis Patterson.
And I'm your forecaster, Christy Shields.
Well, Christy, we're in the middle of November, but we've had some very chilly mornings to start out, eh?
We have. We're not in Canada, but the air has felt like that. Our average for this time of the year is, for a low, is in the upper 30s, and we've actually reached Sunday night into Monday morning down to 24 degrees, and that chilly trend is going to continue. All
right, well, Christy will have more details in the weekend forecast in just a moment, but for now, let's turn to Nature in the News.
A PhD student is researching a new method for forecasting the weather by being more precise in what is uncertain, with hopes for weather forecasts to become more reliable. Mr. Lorenz at the Uni Research Company is adapting a method that is under development at the European Center for Medium-Range Weather Forecasts. You may remember this Euro model being compared to the American or GFS model we ran last year during the time of Superstorm Sandy. He hopes to transfer this method to short-term forecasts, which are generally less than 2 days out. In order to better cover the uncertainties in forecasts, the new method will use a collection of model runs instead of just one. The new forecasts will hopefully be more accurate because a greater degree of precision can be associated with the correct level of uncertainty in the forecast.
Some residents of Centralia, Pennsylvania, a small town about 90 miles east of State College, can finally rest easy in their own homes after decades of unrest. A mine fire ignited back in 1962, exposing residents to poisonous gases and dangerous sinkholes, prompted a federal relocation program for more than 1,000 people in the area. 8 residents, however, decided that the fire really didn't pose a danger and accused the government and the mining company of wanting to seize their land and grab the rights to billions of dollars worth of coal, and so sued to remain in Centralia. A Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection geologist said last year that the fire still poses a threat because there is the potential for new pathways underground to open up, allowing deadly gases to reach the homes. The residents said that was nonsense, and their lawsuit against the state officials ended just last week. They are now allowed to stay for as long as they live, and includes a cash payout of nearly $350,000. As resident Tom Jankoski puts it, "They bent us, but they didn't break us. Everybody got what we wanted, and everybody's happy now."
A huge success for India on Tuesday as the country launched its first Mars probe into Earth's orbit. The Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle that carries the Mars probe lifted off at 2:38 p.m. local time just off India's southeastern coast. The probe carries 5 instruments to study the Martian upper atmosphere, surface features, and mineralogy. If successful, the mission will make India the first Asian country to reach Mars, beating out China and Japan, and will join the elite league of 3 that have reached the red planet: Russia, Europe, and us. The probe will orbit Earth until December 1st, when it will break free from Earth's gravitational pull and begin its 9-month cruise to Mars. Closer to home, NASA also has plans to launch its own mission to Mars later this month.
Sunday kicks off the Winter Weather Awareness Week in Pennsylvania and runs through Friday, November 15th. The National Weather Service Forecast Office in State College, Pennsylvania, has many topics on their website covering winter weather preparedness for each day. As they state, one of the key lessons from natural disasters over the last several years is that individuals must be prepared to deal with the effects of hazardous weather conditions, and you can take steps to mitigate against Pennsylvania's sometimes harsh winter weather. Winter is the most dangerous time of the year for drivers, in fact. Nearly 3 out of every 4 winter weather-related deaths occur on our highways. When roads are snow-covered or icy, slow down and drive very carefully. As we continue to venture deeper into the winter season, it would behoove you to brush up on the terms and definitions which the National Weather Service uses to describe winter weather, so you can know what steps you can take to become prepared. You can do so by visiting the State College NWS website listed below. Now let's check in with Christy standing by with your weekend forecast to see if these NWS winter tips will be put in use.
Well, Travis, we don't need to prepare for winter quite yet. However, in the extended forecast, we might get a little taste of it. But let's start right now with the weekend. Friday's setup is like this. After a cold front does go through on Thursday, we will see high pressure dominant here in the eastern seaboard, which will give us some sunny skies here in State College. After the cold front moved through, it does bring us some west-northwest winds, which makes the northern tier of the state have a possibility of some lake effect snow or some lake effect rain showers on Friday, but that'll clear out as the day moves on. Saturday, high pressure is still dominant here to the south of us. It'll bring us some nice sunny skies once again, but if we take a look to the west, there is this low pressure system, but it is very weak, so we don't really need to worry about it. You might not actually even realize that it goes through, but it will bring us some warmer temperatures because that cold front on Thursday brought some cooler temperatures. So this one is going to give us some warmer ones, and it'll be partly cloudy on Sunday as well. If we break it down day by day, 46 degrees on Friday with clouds clearing midday. Again, there is a chance in the northern half of the state to see some lake effect rain or snow showers, so make sure you do prepare for that if you're traveling up there. But by Friday night, clear skies across the board, 30 degrees, and that could lead to some frost in the morning on Saturday. So if you plan on doing some errands in the morning, you might need to get that scraper out to clear off your windshields. 49 degrees for your high on Saturday as the sunshine continues. But the dew points this weekend are going to be in the 20s, which means that it's going to be a very dry air mass, so your lips could possibly get chapped. You might need to stick that chapstick in your pocket. Make sure you're moisturizing because your hands could get dry. It's that kind of dry air mass. 32 degrees at the freezing point on Saturday night with some patchy clouds. Then on Sunday, the temperatures are back to average with 51 degrees. And Sunday, since those temperatures are back to average for November, it's a great day to go out and rake up those leaves because we are past foliage here in Centre County. So make sure you get all of that extra yard work that you have left over for the season done because winter is soon to be on our doorstep. Tyler is up next with a feature on the National Weather Association's conference that took place in Charleston, South Carolina.
The annual National Weather Association meeting was held just last month in Charleston, South Carolina. The meeting draws professional meteorologists and students alike from across the country to discuss the latest and greatest in the field of meteorology. Several Penn State students attended the conference in Charleston, and all of them had positive things to say about their experience.
You know, a lot of weather events leave us in question and a little bit confused as to why they were so severe or why certain things happened. And these conferences definitely clear up some of those concerns and questions we might have at the time of the event.
John Paul Nicola, a junior in meteorology, was surprised to learn that many of the professionals at the conference supported the idea of university-run storm chase teams for students.
A lot of emphasis was put on how, the only way kids can learn is if they actually get out and experience it. And a lot was said about how it was a good idea for faculty members to take students out. And most of the panelists had positive things to say about universities indeed having storm chase teams.
Junior Ben Reppert was surprised to learn that not all stations across the country utilize wall-to-wall live coverage in major weather events.
Something that people in our area probably don't realize is that the weather coverage here is a lot more pronounced, and being a meteorology major, I enjoy that. But I had the opportunity to talk with a meteorologist in Colorado. He's been out there for 17 years, he's a chief meteorologist, and he said that until last summer, there was never a situation before the extreme wildfires that they had where the news station actually wanted them to be in like live coverage mode or like storm mode of sorts. That out there until last year, they've never been put on the spot like that. So I thought that's interesting. Whereas here we get like a snowstorm or any type of just big storm. We're just on the air a lot with the weather, and that's something that they don't deal with much out there.
Meredith Nichols, a senior here at Penn State, was excited to listen to a talk about Hurricane Sandy.
And it was really fascinating because they talked about all the different types of precipitation that occurred during this event, including the large amounts of rain in West Virginia, Virginia, and Maryland, as well as the snow and wind and other different kinds. This was a unique storm because of the fact that it was a snowstorm, hurricane, all in one.
Devin Boyer, also a senior here in the Department of Meteorology, had the opportunity to present at the conference. His presentation, Tested with Fire, focused on the challenges of running a student forecasting organization and also about the brand new live broadcast team here at Penn State.
I gave a talk on the Campus Weather Service live broadcast team that we do here at Penn State, as well as our social media coverage for the Campus Weather Service. So I kind of just detailed how we go through the process of producing live shows and communicating them through social media, and just tried to share the message of what we've done so that other student forecasting groups maybe will be inspired to create similar things. That presentation did end up winning first prize for the undergraduate level speakers talk, so I'm very grateful that turned out that well.
Now, even though the National Weather Association conference just wrapped up last month, students here at Penn State are already applying for the American Meteorological Society conference, which will be held early next year in Atlanta, Georgia. Reporting for Whether or Not, I'm Tyler Jankoski.
Time now for the extended forecast and your weekend recap. This weekend is shaping up to be a pretty nice November weekend. 46 degrees for your high on Friday. Clouds will be clearing midday, and that sunshine will continue into Saturday with a high around 49 degrees. Sunday, temps return back to average for this time of the year, and a few more clouds there on Sunday because a small disturbance will be moving through Sunday evening into Monday, but those will clear out those clouds for Monday. Tuesday gets a little more cloudier as a frontal passage moves through Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, which could bring us some frozen precipitation. Taking a look at the temperatures for next week, those are dipping way below average for this time of the year, so Arctic air is going to invade with a frozen finish.
Well, Christy, so all in all, not a bad weekend. We do get some sun in there.
Yeah, it's not too bad of a weekend weather-wise. However, it will be chilly, so you're definitely going to need your jacket if you're outside. And unfortunately, I like my sun, and it'll be setting sooner but rising earlier.
That's right, and that actually brings us back to our Weather Whiz quiz, in which we asked you, which state in the U.S. does not observe daylight saving time and follows the same time zone as Denver from November to March and follows Los Angeles from March to November? Is it A, Utah, B, Arizona, C, Alaska, or D, Wyoming? And the answer is B, Arizona. And the reason Arizona doesn't observe daylight saving time is because of the state's extreme heat. So if they did spring forward in the spring by 1 hour, the sun wouldn't set until 9 p.m., and that really wreaks havoc on the electrical systems out there.
Yes, and here we still aren't losing any time during the day. It just means that the sun is rising earlier and setting earlier.
That's right. So just as you're commuting home from work, the sun will be setting in the sky. But The sun also sets here on Whether or Not. That about wraps up our show for this week. I'm your host, Travis Patterson.
And I'm your forecaster, Christy Shields. See you next time.